So, if you have completed your search campaign journey in the realm of digital marketing, then you must be thinking it's all about adding the keywords and then additionally giving the ad text to it. And ad text is all about adding the headlines and the description. But trust me, when it comes to getting a job or when it comes to getting a project in the market, then you really have to learn the entire responsive search ad creation part. Now, when it comes to responsive search ad creation, it starts with adding 15 headlines and 4 descriptions. Headlines can have up to 30 characters and description can also have up to 90 characters. But then it's all about how will you make these many headlines and descriptions. I mean, you think it's quite easy. You must be thinking on of getting into a Google Ad account and simply uh, adding on some headlines over here. And whenever you get into create responsive search ad in Google, you always get these recommendations by Google, right? So all of these recommendations appears by Google. In fact, if I just leave off from this ad creation part, and let's say I create a fresh ad in any of the ad groups in this Google Ad account interface, I will simply click on ads. I'm already working within a campaign. It's a search campaign. Then I click on responsive search ad. I simply choose the available campaign, which is springtails underscore search. And let's say I go with no spin group. Now, as I said, Google automatically gives you the final URL. It automatically fetches you the headlines and then it also provides you the recommended description. But the problem is whenever you work for a project, you have to create a proper sheet to create this ad copy. You cannot just randomly choose the headlines and the descriptions. You have to follow a format. You have to get this content approved by someone who could be a client or who could also be a manager at your company or at your project. And it's a process. So all you have to do is to get into a sheet first. You have to understand how that sheet looks like and then how you'll be creating the entire formatting of this Google responsive ad copy. So at least you need to have one single responsive search ad in each of the ad groups. So if I talk about generic ad group, you can have one generic responsive search ad and each ad need to have up to 15 headlines. So it's totally fine if you are going with 10 headlines or 8 headlines, but the most number of headlines that you can have could be 15 headlines. And then each headline need to have 30 characters. So you can't go beyond adding 30 characters. Now, this is the most difficult part. Sometimes you feel that you'll be writing a headline, putting something like affordable imitation jewelry online. But then what if these character goes beyond 30? It becomes 36. If it happens, then your ad will not be getting saved. So that's why you have to make a proper sheet. And once that sheet is available, you have to get this sheet reviewed by or through your management. And then only you can think about adding the characters, adding the headlines and description through that sheet. Now, it starts with having the headlines. Then you can have up to 4 description. Each description need to have up to 90 characters. You need to mention the path. Path means the visible URL, the URL that appears when somebody searches your ad over Google search engine, and then the final URL, which means the landing page. Also, you need to have a count. So while making a sheet, it's very difficult to find out the characters, to count the characters in each and every cell. So one best way is to put a formula for this cell. And the formula is like is equal to length. So let's say if I put formula in this cell, I simply have to put an is equal to sign and then I have to mention length len over here and simply enter over here. This formula will give me the count of any characters which I'm adding in all these cells. So let's say if I add something in the no spin cells, then I can see a count of 11 for this particular cell. Now, once I'm done with headlines and descriptions, I can simply add part 1 and part 2 and then finally put in a final URL. Now, the problem is how will you be writing all of these headlines? I mean, it's not that easy to pull up 15 headlines or to write 4 descriptions unless you are someone who have completed any form of content writing work in the past, or else you have to go through the website. Maybe you just get into the project, which is springtails.shop. You review each and every product one by one, and then you start writing down the content. This is one way of doing it. I mean, you cannot randomly put in this content if you are looking forward to become an expert. Or another way is that you try to open up ChatGPT. Let's say this is a ChatGPT account, and within this ChatGPT account, you go through the headline. So let's say I want to make a ad copy, a responsive search ad for no spin. So I simply copy the category name and I go to ChatGPT. I simply type create a responsive search ad for no spin artificial jewelry. And then I simply click on enter. Now this will help me to generate an ad copy with multiple headlines and descriptions. Now, maybe one ad copy is not enough for you to have because this one is not having multiple headlines and multiple descriptions, but then you can start making multiple responsive search ads from ChatGPT. Now, once you have these headlines and description available, you can simply put in these information into the sheet. So let's say I simply copy the headline one and put it over here, and I simply copy headline 2, and then I also add this copy in the second headline of this group. Now, the problem which you'll be facing is about the character limit. Now, you can see this headline is going beyond 30 characters, and the second headline of no spin is also going beyond 30 characters. So you will have to edit all of these headlines one by one, even after copying the content from somewhere in the internet. And once these contents are available within 30 limit of characters, then only you can think about adding these headlines and descriptions into the Google Ad account. Now, along with adding these headlines and descriptions, you have to make sure that the headlines are having the added strength of either good or excellent. So when you start making these headlines, you start getting this score over here, which starts with having a poor score, then it goes to average, then it goes to good, or finally it gets into delivering you the excellent result for the ad copy. Now, once you have the excellent result, you additionally have to add the logo, the business name, image, and the additional extensions. Having these extensions means when you'll be searching for an ad over Google, so let's say if I type flower delivery, which is a search term, then this text ad shall be showing an image because the image is gonna generate a higher CTR, and having a higher CTR means your ad quality score will be high. I'll be talking about quality score in some other video, but then it's really important to understand that adding an image is really important in the ads these days. Along with that, you have to add the assets. Assets are like the ad extensions. You can have the pricing extensions, you can have the call out extensions, you can have the site link extensions. You'll always find a number of extensions in any account. In fact, these are the total number of extensions which you can add in your responsive search ads, starting with image, business name, logo, site link, headline, description, call out, structure, snippet. You always have like around 10 to 15 extensions these days. All right, so apart from adding your responsive ad through this sheet, you have another way of adding your ads into the Google Ad account. In fact, you have two additional ways. The first way is adding it through Google Ads Editor tool. Now, in Google Ads Editor tool, what you do is simply make multiple ad copies. Rather than having one single ad copy, you make 50 ad copies, 20 ad copies, and maybe more ad copies. And then you write down all of these ad copies in this format, mentioning the campaign name, the ad group name, and then against each ad group, you provide the number of ad copies. And then you can simply add all of these ad copies from the sheet to the Google Ad account in one single step. Now you have two formats. One is doing this activity through Google Ads editor format. We have a tool by the name of Google Ads Editor. This tool looks something like this. So you have to download an application in your system, and this application is Google Ads Editor. Now, people who are working in big agencies, people who really have to work on multiple accounts, they use this Google Ads Editor tool. Apart from Google Ads Editor, you have another way of doing this activity. This is by using the bulk upload option within Google Ads. Now, both of these options are required when you are thinking about making a number of ad copies. In fact, when you're thinking about uploading ad copies in numbers, let's say you are thinking about adding 30 ad copies, 50 ad copies, then only you think about using any of these two tools. Now, people who are beginner, they don't really have to get into these tools. They simply have to understand the headlines, descriptions, character limits, then the additional ad assets or ad extensions, and then they should be knowing or mastering how do they complete the ad creation part. Now, people who have opted for this course, I want them to get back into this Google Ads training sheet. And there, I want you to start completing these three exercises, starting with create a responsive search ad for generic group into a campaign. So first of all, you just make a RSA ad using the sheet which I have shared with you. This sheet is available at sheet number 12, which is text ad. I want you to make no spin, mehendi ring, brass earring, or drop, diamond drop ad copies one by one as exercise number 2. Now you must be thinking it's quite easy. All you have to do is to just write down anything in the headline, write down anything in the description. But trust me, whenever it comes to doing the activity, it looks very easy. If you are just watching this video, if you are just thinking it will be done easily. But then you become an expert once you have the practice of doing these activities. And that's why I always ask people to do some activities. Whenever they are learning anything in their life, they have to do some activation exercises. So here, as I said, I want you to complete doing these, adding these four different ads in four different groups, along with some ad extensions. Try to get a score of excellence while doing that activity. And also, if you are really getting into different tools like responsive search, like Google Ads Editor, or maybe you're thinking about bulk upload, then you can also try doing this through these two tools. If not uploading the ad copy, at least try to get your hands into this Google Ads Editor tool. Now, this tool is really amazing for people or for agencies who are looking for uploading ad copies in bulk. You simply have to get into the account, then get into the campaign, and then slowly and gradually you have to add ad copies, something from here.